What stood out to you?
It was a much better watch than the week before. I would say a couple of things. Everyone wants to know what was the difference with Thomas Brown calling plays versus Shane Waldron. I would say to you there wasn't an enormous difference that I noticed. I noticed it was less predictable because a lot of times when they were in shotgun, most of the time you were throwing it, and when you were under center, most of the time you were running it. With Thomas Brown, he mixed it up a little bit more. I thought there was two things that really stood out to me. His message resonated. I don't know what his message was because their effort and their improved execution was on full display against the Green Bay Packers. I said this to you guys yesterday before having even seen the film again. I expected them to play that way against the Cardinals. And if not the Cardinals, for sure against the Patriots. Had they played that way against the Patriots, for sure they would have beaten them handily. And if they had played that way, clean and simple, and executed better against the Cardinals, I think he really would have had a very good chance to beat them as well. I don't know why it took so long on a number of fronts. Caleb was very, very efficient. Ball came out quick. He played fast. Really liked how he played. There was only one pass, if you can believe it. You probably can. There was only one pass that was completed that traveled more than 10 yards prior to the final series of the game, and that was that beautiful sail route that he threw to Cole Kmet. Everything else was short, and they got the ball in the hands of the receivers and let them run with it, or they just did a lot better. You know, there was better connection in the run game, and they were able to move the ball. I saw guys playing hard. I saw wide receivers blocking for other wide receivers. There's a play where Rome Odunze blocks a Packers secondary player, cornerback, 20 yards down the field 10 yards into the Bears bench. And I'm asking myself, guys, why didn't I see this regularly until this past week? And to that, I still don't know. But I saw a group that played hard and a team that played a very clean game. When you got to the final drive, the kid was special. Like, that's all I can tell you. He was sacked the first two plays. The third play, he creates space. He evades the rush. He finds Rome, who's sitting in a nice hole. Beautiful throw. The back shoulder throw is perfect. Then he also, I think, and I think if you watch the film, it almost seems like he checks to the 12-yard out he throws to Keenan as well on that drive. He checks to a max protection. So, and I give Cole Kmet and Roschon Johnson a lot of credit, too. One picked up the strong safety, one picked up the weak safety, and Keenan runs a quick out, and he gets them into field goal. I mean, it was a drive that you would have suggested was orchestrated by a guy who'd been in the league 7, 8, 9 years.
See, and you don't throw around that word special lightly.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I thought the last 3 weeks he played awful. I thought he played poorly.
I know that, but like there have been throws in the past, whether it be him and then like Justin and Mitch, stuff where like a layman fan and even me, where I would say, "Oh, that great throw right there," and you're like, "Look, that's a throw everyone has to make. Every quarterback does make and has to make."
The throw he made to Cole Kmet was top notch. That's 10 out of 10. Like, and that's a throw. Heard Carm say this earlier too. He loves when you throw with anticipation. Was not a man route. It was running a sail route into a cover two, and the cornerback is feathering back, so he's got a chance to almost make the play. But it's such a perfectly thrown ball, and it set the tone really for the second half because it was the second play of the second half, and it was the only play until the final drive where they actually completed a pass that was beyond 10 yards air travel. And the reason I mention it is I'm just emphasizing the fact that you can move the football without having to push it downfield. Now, you're going to want to implement the downfield attack more. But what they needed to do was reset the quarterback.
Yeah, I was just thinking that word,
get the ball out of his hands quick. And he did a fabulous job of it. He
was
really
back
did.
to basics, wasn't it?
Yes, but I will say this to you as well. I thought at least in the first half, he affected the Packers more with his legs than his arm. And you could tell that when the ball wasn't coming out quick for whatever reason, he 1-2 ball out, if for whatever reason it was either the vision was cloudy, there wasn't somebody open, or the rush was on him, he ejected the pocket immediately and ran with purpose. The other thing I forgot to add from Thomas Brown that he implemented in this game plan was he got back to running the read option with Caleb. Now, Caleb isn't going to make you, remind you of Justin. He doesn't have that same skill, but he's a really smart, crafty runner. And you have to use this skill, and you have to threaten a defense with it. And if you remember what I said to you about this Packers team coming in, they're not great. They're not disciplined. They jump routes, and they're overly aggressive. And I give Thomas Brown a lot of credit for putting that portion of the game plan back in. And if you remember, there was at least 2 third downs and a fourth down where they converted on running the read option, where he faked to the back, kept it, and ran effectively down the field and got first downs. Now, that's important for a couple of reasons. It's got to be part of your game plan, but it also is something that you let the rest of the NFL know that it's part of your repertoire.
We're going to threaten you with this.
So now, like Brian Flores, I don't think he's scared, but Brian Flores now has to game plan for that. So now your ends can't crash down. They got to stay upfield. What does that do? That creates a running lane for your running back. So now he hands the ball off to the running back, and you can get a decent game. So it was,
and it also could
lead to a pass
and slow the pass rush down a little bit.
Absolutely. So there was. Look, again, they scored 19 points. I'm not going over the top and telling you my theme for this week was always simplify. Cut back the number of plays. The other thing is you get in the huddle, you got out of the huddle, you got in that. There wasn't all this gesticulation. There wasn't chaos. There were a few moments when they went up tempo, but for the most part, they got in the huddle, they got out of the huddle. And I would suggest to you, other than the read option that they did run and really hammering Caleb on getting the ball quick, the offense looked kind of similar. They ran 5 wide receiver screens. They just ran them better. Like when plays are run effectively and guys are doing their jobs, we have less of a reaction like, wow, that's a stupid play.
Well, why, again, and you said to me, you asked yourself while watching the film, why am I seeing it this way? You were a player.
Don't know.
You know the dynamics of a locker room.
Yeah.
You've played for coaches that you know could be on their last legs. You were there at the end of Ditka. You were there when Wani went through some turbulent times. What do you think they would say to that? That if you got someone off camera and you said to them,
I said, here's let me show you the video of the game against the Cardinals, and then I'll show you the video of the game against the Packers, and I'm going to show you the same play. And you tell me why the wide receivers are blocking the guys in front of them with, I wouldn't say more energy, but more effectively here than not over there. I don't know. Maybe it's because maybe it was because they weren't held accountable. Like, you got to make that block. And if you don't make that block, I'm going to get DeAndre Carter in here. And if he doesn't make it, I'm going to get Tyler Scott in here. This is why I've always said to you, this is a dual conversation for me. Because I can have this conversation with you that I don't think the coordinator is doing enough to put guys in position to take advantage of what they do. But damn it, I'm also going to hold the players accountable because they're pros. You shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to look at the film and go, you know what? They really concentrated and played much harder in this game than they did over here. Why? Why is that? Why is that the case? Why were you more detail-oriented, and why did you execute better? Why does the effort look significantly better? I don't know. I mean, listen, it's 2024. The game was different. People reacted differently to being coached in, the early 90s. I know it doesn't sound like a long period of time, but it was different. Like, if you didn't do your job back in the day, you got replaced.
Yeah.
And I don't know that in some instances, in some teams, that may happen. And here, I'm not sure it is. I would just tell you that, again, and I'm not projecting that they're off to the races or going to the moon. At the end of the day, pain comes in different forms. The losses, the pain that I felt as a fan from the previous 3 losses hurt more than this. And I don't know why other than I'm so focused on them developing their young quarterback that I saw good stuff from him.
Because there were building blocks in these last.
Yes.
Like the first one hurt because it really hurt their playoff opportunity. Yes. And it went against all common sense, some of the decisions. Multiple decisions that the coaching didn't put the players in the correct position to win.
Yes.
But then the next 2 games, when you lay down like a dog, and especially in this town, you're going to feel like after just one game. This one, at least, the players played hard.
There was a better execution.
There were building blocks for the quarterback there. The game plan made sense.
You know what? It was also wasn't evident on. There was much less frustration. You didn't see guys hanging their heads and hands in the air, and you just didn't see any.
Yeah, go back. Next play mentality.
Yes,
I mean, it's something that we preach to 8-year-olds in Little League baseball. Next at bat, next play. Like, you guys are pros. Stop every incomplete pass, waving your arms.
Now you're singing my song. Exactly.
Well, right, but I would remind them that too.
Of course.
Like, guys,
yes,
you're making $25 million a year. You guys are great at what you do.
Yes,
be great on every play.
Yes, listen. I'd give you a teaching tape. I'll show it to you at the break. Rome gets his block. He's coming from the backfield, and it's a shovel pass to DJ. He drives a Packer cornerback 15 yards off the ball and 10 yards into the Bears sideline just by effort. And it creates an opportunity for DJ to obviously make a 7, 8, 9, 10-yard gain. That's what you want from this group. And this is how a wide receiving core should work. Because I'm going to get the ball on play 1. You may get the ball on play 5. I'm going to hook you up on play 1. You're going to hook me up in play 5. We're going to work together, and we're going to create space for each other. And there was so few negative plays. I mean, think about this as well. They were as bad as they have been on third downs over the course. I think they're 6 of 40 in the last 3 games on third downs. They were 9 of 16, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Downs.
They had extended drives all game long.
3 of 3 on fourth down as well. Yeah. So they controlled the clock for 36 minutes. They ran significantly more plays than the Packers. The Packers are a more explosive offense at this point. But I guess the moral of the story is you saw progress. Now you're going to be tested by a defense that's going to show Caleb stuff he's never seen before in his life.
Now you got to adjust.
They give up 308 yards and 17 points per game. They're tied for the league lead in takeaways with 21. They're third in the league with 35 sacks. Like, this is going to be a challenge for him. But he comes into this game feeling much better about himself, I'm sure, after how they played, albeit in a loss against the Packers, versus how poorly they played the 3 prior weeks.